back to my YouTube channel. So it has been a while since I've recorded a video, so we're at a new setup and new hair, and I'm not in college anymore. I graduated and I am now a teacher, which is crazy because the last time you saw me I was still working on school and working on graduating, and I had purple hair, but now here we are with whatever color hair this is and back home in my office. So today we are going to do a video about some of the books that I've read this year, because I've noticed that reading has gained popularity with book TikTok and book YouTubers posting about what they read, and I have hopped on that bandwagon and wanted to talk about some of the books that I've read this year. And the funny thing is, the last video I recorded that never got published or posted was what I've read recently, and I think I might insert a clip here. So here is the stack of books that I have with me. One is missing because I borrowed it from my friend Jess and I gave it back to her, so I don't have that. But when I talk about it, we'll post a picture. Here we are talking about the books I've read, because I have nothing better to do on summer break except for read. So let's go ahead and get on with the video. Alright, so I use Goodreads to keep track of all my books. So I'm doing the 2023 reading challenge. The goal for this year is 25 books for me, because I'm just starting out as a reader. And right now I'm at 16. And this is in June, so halfway through the year. I'm doing pretty good. I'm 5 books ahead of schedule. So how this is going to work, I am going to talk about what I've read at the beginning of the year, going all the way to present day today. So, alright, so the first book that I'm going to talk about is Shadow and Bone by Leah Bardugo, which is, looking back, I can't believe I read the first book this year. It feels like I've read it a year ago, but I literally finished it January 23rd of this year, it says. And I rated this a 4 out of 5 stars. I think I picked up the book before I found out about the series on Netflix, and I told myself I need to read the whole trilogy plus Six of Crows, Crooked Kingdom, all those books before I watch the series. So that is my goal. Like I said, I rated this a 4 out of 5. It was a great fantasy book, and you'll notice throughout my my reading list is that I really enjoy fantasy. I'm on like this fantasy crunch right now. I really enjoyed it. It makes me want to read more, so I did. And it makes me want to read more of like the Great Verse, like I said, Six of Crows and Cricket Kingdom. So I really enjoyed a lot of the like the author Leah or Lay, who knows? I'm terrible at names. She kind of just like throws you into this new fantasy world, which I really like, but it's like very similar to like Russia and like they call that Western countries from the United States. I'm not sure, but Shadow and Bone is I would recommend it to others, and I liked the fantasy aspect of it, if that makes sense. I'm terrible at explaining. I am not a booktuber, okay? Alright, my next book is Animal Crossing: New Horizons Deserted Island Diary, Volume 1. I literally picked this up at the library because I saw Animal Crossing and I was like, oh, I need to read this. It's basically a diary of 4 characters who are on an island of Animal Crossing, and they meet different characters, whether it be like Isabelle, Tom Nook, or just like actual villagers that live on the island. So it's like reading a little story of someone playing Animal Crossing, which I thought was adorable. This book I finished in March, so I took a big gap, March of this year, and I loved it so much I picked up all the rest because I thought it was so cute and adorable, and it was a quick read. I did only rate it a 3-star because the stories were short, but I mean, how much can you write for an Animal Crossing book? It's like thinking of little like snippets of like these 4 friends doing different things on their island. So maybe it's like completing the museum or buying everything at Tom Nook's. So next book is Kingdom of the Fear by Kelly-Rae. I could have said that terribly wrong. But it's the 3rd book in the Kingdom of the Wicked series, and this series is what got me back into reading. Kingdom of the Wicked changed my life with reading. So I was really anticipating this coming out last year in September, and when it finally did, I was like, oh my gosh, now I'm a library girly, so I just get all my books from the library, and so I waited till this came to the library and I saw it was there, and I was so excited to read it because it is, like I said, one of my favorite series that just I've recently read, and I finished this again in March. This book I rated a 5-star because, again, I love it. It goes off of our main characters, Amelia and Wrath, which I love Wrath to death. Like, love Wrath. Or Wrath. Yeah, I don't know, I can't describe it. It's just literally one of my favorite books of all time. I mean, Kingdom of the Feared, it was like a good wrap up to this story, and I now know that Carrie is doing kind of like spin-offs off of the characters. I think she said that she was doing one on like Greed, which if you don't know, the series has different princes for each of the 7 deadly sins. So she said she was going to do like a spin-off on Greed or Envy or something like that. So I'm so excited to see what she does because like I've been obsessed with these characters since Kingdom of the Wicked. So I'm excited to see where she goes. Again, one of my favorite series. I totally recommend. Next one, again in March I finished. It was Heartstopper Volume 1 by Alice Oseman. This book I rated a 4 out of 5. I thought it was a very cute graphic novel. I saw, I'd seen it was a little popular for a little bit on Book Talk a while back, and then I also saw that it was a Netflix show. So of course I read the first volume, and I think I read the second volume as well. Yes, I did, which we'll talk about. Read the second volume, and then I watched a little bit of the show, but I didn't really like the show. I liked reading it. Because, you know, you create these characters, or like you see the graphic novel and then you watch the show and you're like, no. I really enjoyed it. I think I might read a couple more before the year is over because I only stopped at 2, but I did think it was a cute graphic novel to read. Next book is A Curse So Dark and Lonely. It is Cursebreakers Book 1 by Bridget Kemmerer. Finished this in March as well. This is a retelling of Beauty and the Beast. If you are into that, again, fantasy. Basically, the whole spiel is that they need to fall in love to break the curse. This prince is having to repeat his 18th year of life, or birthday, or whatever, 18th year, over and over again until he falls in love, and like he turns into a beast, of course, but then this girl from Washington, D.C. gets sucked into the world. So I thought that was kind of cool how they took like a real place and like had this character go into like a fantasy world. So I liked that aspect. So this girl is now stuck there. She wasn't the first pick of the bunch, but she's there trying to help Emberfall, which is the town or city that is cursed. I rated this a 4 out of 5. I thought it was a good fantasy read. I enjoyed the characters, and this helped me. I guess I like picking up books that have like series or stuff like that, so then I can read more about the characters or see like a different story. So we'll get into that as the video goes on, because we're going to talk about the second book of the series. Alright, next one is Heartstopper Volume 2. Read this in end of March. I rated this a 4 out of 5. Kind of like what I said for the first one, it's a very cute story. I like the story of Nick and Charlie. Very cute. I will continue to read the series. I pick it up at the library. Another one is Animal Crossing New Horizons Deserted Island Diary Volume 2. I rated this a 4. I thought this was a little better than the first book. Finished this in April. I think I liked it better because of the stories. Like, I think the first one was very bland, but this one had more like fun aspects to it. Like, there's silly adventures of the 4. So rated that a 4. Alright, next one is Other Ever Afters New Queer Fairy Tales. I literally saw this at the library and was like, this looks cute, I want to pick it up. picked it up, rated it a 4 out of 5 stars because I thought it was cute. At first I thought it was like retelling of fairy tales in a like queer aspect, but it literally was like a whole new fairy tales that were queer. So I love that. I should have read it now when it's Pride Month, but I like I said, finished it in April, and again, fantasy aspect, really enjoyed it and thought it was cute. I really like the art style in it. That was another reason why I picked it up, because of the cover. It's very pretty. So next one is Slip. This is a graphic novel. I read this in April and I rated it a 4 out of 5 stars. I picked it up because I liked the art style first, but then I was reading about how it's about a girl who goes to art camp, and when she leaves for art camp, her best friend like attempts suicide. So she's like trying to focus on art camp, but also like the sadness of her best friend attempting suicide. Like, how is she supposed to focus on it? So it's a very emotional graphic novel. It's definitely not a kid's graphic novel. It's a teen or young adult graphic novel. So it's very cute. It has, I mean, not cute, but like cute art style, and it's a lot about like how the main character grows. So again, graphic novels for me are just like fun little quick reads for me. Next one is the second book of The Curse Breakers, which is A Heart So Fierce and Broken, and I really should have rated this a 3 instead of a 4, because I didn't think it was gonna be in one of the characters from the first book and his perspective, or not of the story of the first book, but it's like what happens in the first book after the fact, and now we're going with a different character who was introduced, which is the guardsman Gray, his name is, for the prince. So instead of Prince Ren and Harper from the first book as the main characters, it's now the guardsman Gray, because now this whole thing is talking about win the crown and save the kingdom. So they're trying to like fix the kingdom, and they're trying to figure out who to crown king. In the story, I don't want to spoil too much, but they gotta win the crown. Okay, and at first I was like, why are we only reading in his perspective? But as the story went on, I guess it made sense and it was exciting. But I don't know if there is another book, A Vow So Bold and Deadly. I don't know if I read it. So, I don't know. If you've read it, let me know if I should read it. Alright, and then we are on Siege and Storm, book 2 of the Shadow and Bone trilogy. I just finished this not too long ago, on June, beginning of June. And I'm so happy that I got to read it, because now I'm like back into that Grishaverse. So, reading the second one, at first I thought it was like happening so fast, and then there's a lot of plot twists of like in the story, because at first I was like reading, I'm like only 100 pages in, and I was like, wow, a lot has happened already, but it's like it's not over yet. Like, so book 2, 4 out of 5 stars. It made me want to read more from this author, so of course I went and picked up the third book, which we'll get into. Next one is I Wish My Teacher Knew How One Question Can Change Everything But for Our Kids. Again, this is a library pickup. It's a nonfiction book. It's written by a teacher, a third grade teacher, who did this activity where she had her students fill in the blank of I wish my teacher knew. And like some of them were like really humorous, like I wish my teacher knew that I lost my tooth, like, oh, funny. Or some are really heartbreaking. So she talks about how this like phenomenon, she like posted about it, and then a bunch of other teachers did it. She found out like what kids, you know, it's a way for kids to kind of not share their secrets, but like feel like they're being heard or listened to by their teachers. And then she just gives some like activities based off of this I wish my teacher knew thing, as well as talking about it's like a guide. So I thought it was a good teacher book to read. I will say I did not read it cover to cover. I kind of like flipped through and looked at the sections that I wanted to read about and learn more about. So again, like I said, a 4 out of 5 stars. I I thought it was a good nonfiction teacher book for me to read. Next one is one I just finished last week, and it's A Violet Made of Thorns by Gina Chen. And I rated this a 3 out of 5 because of the ending. I absolutely hated the ending. Like, the whole time I was reading, I'm like, wow, I really like this book. I like the idea of a seer or a prophet, and basically like an enemies to lovers, like with Prince Cyrus, who's the prince. And the ending, I did not like. It felt very abrupt. So that's why I gave it a 3 out of 5. But I love the idea of like having a seer, and she can see through the future and talk about these prophecies. I loved that. All of this is great. But the thing that turned me off was the ending of this book. So recommend to read. Let me know your thoughts at the ending. But I don't know if there's another book that comes out, maybe I'll read it. But right now, that is the only one. Alright, next we have Emily and the Strangers, Volume 1, The Battle of the Bands, which I was surprised to find out this was not written in the last 5 years. It was literally published in 2014. And I used to read Emily and the Strange in like middle school. So when I saw this, I was like, oh, I'm gonna read through it. And I only rated it a 3 out of 5 because it's not like crazy in any way. She's literally trying to create a rock song so she can win this rock guitar, and then she makes a band, and it was just like, again, a fun read. But I thought like thinking back to middle school, because I know I used to read her books, I don't remember her being kind of like stubborn in that sense, but it kind of makes sense for her character. So 3 out of 5. Next one is Squished. It's a children's graphic novel by Megan Wagner-Lloyd and Michelle Me Nutter, who is the illustrator. This book, I actually noticed some of my students this past year reading it. I think they were reading it towards the end, or they picked it up at like the book fair, and I was like, oh, that like art style looks familiar. And I realized the same author is for Allergic, which I've read Allergic. And since my kids were picking up, I know it's maybe a good book. So I decided to read it. It's about a girl who is squished. Okay. It's about a girl who's in a very large family. She has, she's in a family of 9. So it's kind of talking about how it is to be one of the older siblings in that family aspect. So I thought it was, again, a cute art style. I liked the art style. It's something I was gravitated towards for Allergic, and so then I also gravitated toward this. And it talks about, again, how, you know, she's one of the older siblings, has to take care of her younger siblings. She wants her own room, all of that. So I thought it was a cute story that, of course, like students who, you know, are 3rd, 4th grade enjoyed. And I also enjoyed. Thought it was a cute story. And the last book I read recently, I actually have because I finished it yesterday. This is Rune and Ryzen, the 3rd book in the Shadow and Bone trilogy. And this is the large print text because that was all they had at the library, and I do not mind. But I was like, as I was reading this, I was like, what could you put in the 3rd book? Like, how could you extend this story even more? And as we were getting to like the end of the story, I was like, I need to finish this book, because like, you know, when you get past the 50% mark, you're just like on like a spree. That's what was happening to me, because I was like, I need to know, because I felt like the beginning was very slow. And then as soon as I got to like halfway, a little more than halfway, I was like, oh my gosh, I need to read what happens next. And the ending is like, not like, a lot of emotions happened to me in the ending. And I was talking to my mom because she has watched the series, and I know the series was a little different than the books, but I like telling her how this book ended, and she's like, oh, that didn't happen in the show. So I know some things about the show that are different than this. And she's like, well, I wish the show ended like that. So I liked the ending of this. It was very cute how, I don't want to spoil it, but it's really cute. So recommend the Shadow and Bone trilogy for sure. Alright, so the last 2 books I'm going to show you are books that I'm about to read, that I'm going to start. So the first one I'm going to start is Gallant by V. Schwab, which I've seen he has some other books that I think I just watched a booktuber read a book by him. Maybe it was Sarah. She's a booktuber, she's popular. But where was it? Destiny? Someone was reading a book by him, but I picked up this one, Gallant. I don't know how to say it, but I liked the cover of this book. It looks really cool. I like the art style, and there is a little bit of like art within it. Again, this is another large print text or whatever it's called. I don't know, I just picked it up and I love the cover and I can't wait to read this. And the next book I'm going to read is The Shadow Between Us by Trisha Levenseller. Again, fantasy type book. There's a couple other books that she's written that are pretty popular, but I saw on the back here that Carrie, again, butchering her last name, Maniscalco, who is the author of Kingdom of the Wicked, wrote a little, not review, but you know, like how they write little things back here. She wrote a thing on it and I'm excited. It's basically, she's got this main character needs to woo the Shadow King, marry him, and then kill him and take his kingdom for herself. So some like boss bitch energy in this book. So I'm excited to read that and review that story. So haven't read these 2 yet. This one's my next one, then this one. So yeah. Alright, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Also, make sure to comment below any book recommendations. I've been watching Book Talk and Book YouTube as well, with all those book YouTubers' recommendations. I really want to read Magnolia Parks because they were hyping the crap out of that, plus Fourth Wing. But it doesn't have to be new books, it can be older books as well. And let me know if you've read any of the books that I've read and what was your thoughts on it. Anything about books, just comment down below. Also, make sure you subscribe. I'm going to try to post more videos since I am on summer break and I have the time to do so. So that's about it. Thanks for watching. Bye!